At this time of the year, many of the crops we're growing are coming to an end, so it feels really good to plant something new. Today I'd like to invite you to join me as I plant garlic. We plant garlic in our Zone 5 garden in mid to late October, around the time of our first frost. Today I'll be planting two varieties, music garlic and pioneer garlic. Music garlic is our favorite hardneck variety. It's very cold hardy, stores well, tastes great, and has nice large cloves. The bulbs that I'll be planting this year were saved from this year's harvest. And pioneer garlic is a new softneck variety that's very cold hardy, and we're trying for the first time this year. We've had mixed results with softneck varieties over the years because they haven't always done well with our cold winters. But pioneer is hardy to Zone 3, so should have no trouble at all with the Zone 5 winter. I'm only planting one bulb this year, and it cost me about $7. But this bulb should have about 15 cloves, which will give me 15 bulbs next year. If we eat 12 of them and plant 3, we'll have 45 bulbs in the next harvest. So let's start planting. I'll plant the pioneer garlic in the front of this bed right behind me. We practice crop rotation with garlic, and it has been a few years since I planted garlic here, so this is a good spot. When planting garlic, it's very important that you plant it right side up. And if you look closely here, you'll see that there are still roots on the bottom of the bulb, and that the cloves are relatively flat on the bottom. On the top, however, the cloves are pointed where the stem used to be. And if I remove a clove, you can see that the bottom is flat and the top is pointed. So we'll plant the pointy side up. I plant the cloves in holes about 3 inches deep and 4 to 6 inches apart, usually closer to 4 inches. I don't separate the cloves from the bulb until I'm ready to plant, because doing so earlier may dry them out and they may be less viable. I wanted to grow pioneer this year, not only because it's cold hardy, but also because softneck garlic is supposed to store better. And the longer our garlic stores, the better. Ideally, we'll grow all of our garlic ourselves and not have to buy any from the store. These are actually pretty decent sized cloves given how many there are on a bulb. It turns out there were 17 in total. All I'll do to feed the garlic and amend the soil is to add worm castings and some leaves. Okay, this is the last of 17 cloves I'm planting. And if all goes well, we'll have 17 bulbs. If we save just a few of those to plant next year, we'll have more than enough pioneer garlic in the years to come. Now let's plant the music garlic. Rather than planting our music garlic in the same bed as the pioneer, I'll plant it over here in this bed. This is part of our strategy of planting in polycultures. We like to interplant our garlic with a variety of different crops in different locations in the garden to reduce pest and disease pressures. I'll plant our music garlic exactly like the pioneer, in 3-inch holes about 4 inches apart and pointy side up. Music garlic has much bigger cloves than the pioneer, but fewer per bulb, only 5 or 6, so I'll have to plant more bulbs to get the desired amount. I'd like to plant 50 to 60 cloves total between the two varieties. Well, it's going to take a while to plant all this garlic, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, and I'll be back to you when it's time to apply vermicompost. And if I didn't happen to have vermicompost, I'd use compost instead. Well, I'm wrapping up today's planting, and it looks like we'll have closer to 70 cloves planted instead of 50 to 60. That may seem like a lot, but we eat a lot of garlic. Okay, these are the last 2 cloves of music garlic. Cover everything up really good, pat it down. And now let's apply vermicompost and mulch. We don't have a whole lot of vermicompost today, but we don't really need much. Our soil is already rich in nutrients. And I'll be applying mulch too. I might also apply a little bit more in the spring when we have more compost available. Alright, now let's mulch with autumn leaves. I'll just apply a thin layer now and a thicker layer before it gets really cold. We also have pine needles in here. The leaves will help insulate the garlic from the cold this winter. Once again, I'll just apply a thin layer now, and I'll be back probably in December to put a heavier blanket to keep the garlic warm. Mulch will also retain moisture in the soil, provide food and habitat for beneficial soil organisms, and food for our garlic. In the spring, I'll remove some of the mulch so that it doesn't suppress the garlic greens from coming up. Like I said earlier, it sure does feel good to plant something at this time of the year. This garlic won't be ready to harvest until next July, but it's well worth the wait, and it gives me something to look forward to in the garden. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe for more videos on how to grow a lot of food on a little land without spending much or working harder than you have to.